You'll notice that we're doing these videos very plain, very simple. We're actually even just filming straight from a phone to keep this in the most simplistic manner. We're not here for a flash dash, and we know we're not going to reach a lot of people. We know that the majority of people, if they're chasing wealth, riches, they want the power of God, they want the power to control the state, then this is certainly not the videos to follow, because that's not the message out of the Bible. So certainly it's not going to be any message that I would be putting up on the videos. I'm keeping the videos simple in the explanation so that you can take your time to do the research the same way that I found these answers. So when we're dealing with the birth record, we're going to go really slowly again. What happens at the hospital, very simply, there's an attending doctor. An attending doctor generally, or whether it's a midwife, has attended to the birth, and they generally don't know what the parent's going to place down as far as the given name of the child. So we'll just say, with the last name used as an example, the baby or the Babylonian baby from the commercial side is going to be called Baby Boy Smith or Baby Girl Jane. But that's how the beginning of the process begins. So there's a form that the doctor fills out. Doesn't have any knowledge of what the parent's going to name the child as a given name. Then there's the document that the parents fill out. And of course, the side that's legal is geared towards having another participant come on there that's going to be induced into the legal system to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, to touch something that doesn't belong to them, forbidden fruit. So the parents, of course, training the child up in the same sin and error they did, they will expose the privacy of the child in the active state document. Now, the state could have only had the surname on the document, but you can't run a lie or a fiction without truth and error. So they require the truth of your given name, a fact, in with the legal factitious fact of their jurisdictional name and title. But because the parents were involved, it would make sense that the legal document that's going to be prepared or filled in would have the same trespass that happened with the parents. So the parents are operating in the legal contract, well then of course it would imply the children are going to do the same. But the child has nothing to do with it, so they did fill in both on the document, even though the parent by law was not required to put in the given name of the child, because that's private, not public. Then we get to the birth certificate. Now, remember, the statement of birth record is just a frame. It's just framed. It's got nothing to do with anything other than an accusation. Remember that English law is based on an accusatory system of law. So you're part of the same system that Satan was described as in title as being the accuser of the believers in Christ. So we have an accusation, an accused name going on there that you would be actually trespassing on the legal world of Caesar. Okay, so then they issue a little birth certificate. Okay, but the birth certificate simply is, it says here, an extract from the birth registration. Again, we mentioned in a previous video, it is not to be confused with coming from the statement of birth record, because this doesn't come out of that. They take the form that the doctor filled out, then they take the statement of birth that the parents filled out at the hospital, they compare them, they find a few matches, enough to go and create an ambiguous document that uses both names, but in a very safe manner. Because under the Trademark Act, they are not allowed to confuse a living individual with their trademarks. So this is left deliberately ambiguous, not saying given name or surname or family name or last name, because they just can't do that. So they leave it ambiguous. And then this just becomes a patent that they use as a bond that belongs to the state, And then basically it is in their jurisdiction, it's their document. But they did not trespass. In essence, the way this document is exposing given name and surname of the child. And that's why every derivative after that, driver's licenses do not say given name or family name. They don't do that. What happens is when you apply for them, you place in the box is what it is. And so when the officer's on the road in the state computer, he sees what you filled in, and then it distinguishes given name, family name on what he sees on the screen, but what you gave him doesn't have anything to do with that. And then, of course, you're affirming that and walking with it. You become the surety for this, what comes out of your mouth, because you've been influenced by the legal system. So we're going to go to now examine in the next video what this really is, because this says certified extract from birth registration. We're going to look at that subject matter in detail and take us to the next step.